All right, ladies and gentlemen, MrSotko here. Welcome back to the channel. Got a whole bunch of good crypto news stuff for you. And the first thing that I want to talk about is Cardano is now nearly 100% decentralized. It's actually around 90%. Talked about this a few videos back, but we are inching ever closer to that full decentralized point that the developers are planning, and that's going to be at the end of the month. So Cardano, the emerging smart contract platform, started a joining to the full decentralized of its network in July 2020, following the integration of Shelley from testnet to mainnet. Since the official launch of Shelley, Cardano has undergone phases of development. On 1st of March 2021, Cardano advanced into the multi-asset era following the successful Mary hard fork. On the 4th of March 2021, IOG, the software firm behind Cardano development, announced that the network has started counting down to full decentralization, which is expected to play out on the 31st of this month, March 2021. According to the report, at the end of March, Cardano will see D, the parameter that governs that percentage of transactions are processed by the Genesis nodes, reach 0. So eventually, Cardano will have nothing to do with it, and the people will. This attainment will make the responsibility for block generation become fully decentralized. This also implies that Cardano's network of over 1,800 community pools will be solely responsible for producing blocks. The report also pointed out that D was set to initial 1.0 when Shelley was deployed in late July of 2020. So Cardano, moving along with its products. I remember when Cardano came out in 2017, it basically had no functionality whatsoever. You could just send it back and forth across the blockchain, which you could argue about a lot of cryptocurrencies. But Cardano now starting to actually have tokens on its mainnet, and much more to come in the future with smart contracts and likely DeFi platforms. And when these DeFi platforms come out and these tokens come out on Cardano, it's likely that people will FOMO into them. So they're probably going to be somewhat lucrative in that sense, just because crypto and people FOMO into new stuff. Moving on here, Charles Schwab is ready to offer Bitcoin, which is really big news. So Charles Schwab may soon venture into Bitcoin. And it would not be a huge investment like that of Tesla or MicroStrategy. Instead, Charles Schwab Corporation could launch a brokerage platform, probably an exchange using the technology of a partner already experienced in the cryptocurrency sector. Charles Schwab is a US-based multi-financial services company. It currently manages $6.8 trillion for its clients, trades 5.7 million every day with over 30.5 million brokerage accounts, 15 million bank accounts, 13,000 companies in total of 32,000 employees. It also has 517.8 billion in funds and ETFs. Among the investment services to be offered to its clients, it is now considering including cryptocurrencies. It would do so with a cryptocurrency buying and selling platform that could be launched by the end of 2021. So huge news from Charles Schwab. A lot of those old investors that would love to use Charles Schwab to buy their cryptocurrency, but likely won't move out from their current situation. So they're going to use Charles Schwab to do it. So this is good, as there's yet another company that gets into cryptocurrency. Again, 2021 is going to be a wild year. More and more companies and institutions are jumping on board. 2021 is effectively the year of cryptocurrency, for sure. Moving on here to some interesting news. A burned banksy NFT sale captures close to $400,000. Critics claim buyers are morons, which is kind of silly. So just recently, a collective of unknown art enthusiasts and NFT token asset fans decided to transform a physical Banksy screen print into an NFT. So they reported on the group who burned the original Banksy piece called Morons, and explained why the collective called Burnt Banksy chose this route. So they literally set fire to a Banksy art piece and then turned it into an NFT so that nobody could have the original. The reason behind this is because if we had the NFT and the physical piece, the value would be primarily in the physical piece, one of the members said, before torching the Banksy artwork. By removing the physical piece from existence and only having the NFT, it makes sure that the NFT, due to the smart contract on the blockchain, will ensure that no one can alter the piece and it is true, and it is the true piece that exists in the world, which doesn't really make much sense. You might as well just have the original physical piece. But because NFTs, again, as I was just saying previous to this, that with Cardano and how tokens will come soon, and then smart contracts, etc., and people are going to FOMO into them because they're new. It's the same thing here with NFTs. They're like, hey, let's burn this piece of artwork and then turn it into an NFT so that it's worth more, I guess. After burning, the NFT was listed on the marketplace OpenSea and contained a description of the product for sale. This one-of-one NFT was created upon the burning of the original pest control certified banksy morons print, which is literally what it's called, number 325 of 500. The OpenSea listing details. This is the first ever authentic banksy piece being turned into an NFT. OpenSea visitors viewing the NFT listing can also view the original COA on interplanetary file system. So yeah, so now I guess we've come to burning artwork, and then previous to burning artwork, they make it into an NFT, and then they set it on fire because NFTs, because crypto. That's basically the reason. If you're asking for another reason, it's just because crypto. Moving on here, Galaxy Digital Bitcoin ETF to launch this week as executives eye compelling opportunities. So yet another Bitcoin ETF. If you're wondering, where is this Bitcoin ETF going to be? Is it in the United States? No, because the United States is way behind in the whole crypto world because the SEC is super slow in actually allowing EFTs to exist, or they just straight up deny them. Nope, going to be Canada as usual. Bitcoin exchange traded funds continue to multiply as a new entrant hits the Canadian market on March 9th. In a press release on Monday, Galaxy Digital Capital Management, a subsidiary of financial services investment management company Galaxy Digital, confirmed that the CI Galaxy Bitcoin ETF would likely start trading this week. The launch will see Galaxy join the TSX Purpose Bitcoin ETF as one of the pioneering ETF products in North America, and United States regulators yet to approve a single application. So there have been many applications for Bitcoin ETFs in the United States, but they just get denied every single time by the SEC because SEC. As Cointelegraph reported, Purpose has seen huge interest in associated volume since its ETF went live last month, around the same time that Galaxy filed with regulators. We believe the emerging digital asset class presents compelling growth in diversification opportunities. The CI Galaxy Bitcoin ETF offers a simple and secure access point for traditional investors to gain exposure to Bitcoin. So even more ETFs popping up. Charles Schwab ready to offer Bitcoin. Everybody is getting in on it now, and we're currently seeing a Bitcoin pump right now. So things are looking pretty good, particularly with the stimulus going out, the stock market's kind of going up, and things go up in advance. The stimulus package actually hasn't received, nobody has received it in their bank accounts yet. It's probably going to go through tomorrow, Tuesday. It's actually going to be signed by the House and then by the President of the United States, and then it'll go out in probably about a week or so and hit people's bank accounts. But people buy in before other people are going to buy in. So that's why the markets sort of rise before the stimulus money has even hit, in case you're wondering, well, why would it rise before that? Well, because smart people buy before everybody else does. So moving on here, PayPal purchases crypto custody firm Curve. So once again, I mentioned this in a few videos back, talking about how PayPal was looking to buy Curve, which is a crypto custody firm. And it was going to be anywhere from $200 to $500 million. And then that way PayPal would actually have its own Bitcoin custody that it could use. Right now it's currently using a third party, but now that they have bought Curve, they actually have their own crypto custody wing under their arm. And so maybe additional features will hit PayPal soon. Maybe the ability to actually send Bitcoin back and forth via PayPal, or the ability to actually send yourself Bitcoin or withdraw Bitcoin. So we'll have to see how they're going to do it. So payment giant PayPal has acquired Israel-based crypto custody firm Curve for an undisclosed amount. According to PayPal, the firm purchased Curve as part of its initiative to support cryptocurrencies and digital assets. The platform said its plans to complete the acquisition before the third quarter of 2021, but did not disclose the purchase amount. Israel-based media outlet Calculist said last week that Curve may have sold for between $200 and $300 million, with CNBC reporting on Monday that the deal is worth less than $200 million. So it looks like PayPal may have gotten a good deal on that one. The acquisition of Curve is part of our effort to invest in the talent and technology to realize our vision for a more inclusive financial system, said Jose Fernandez, Vice President and General Manager of PayPal's Crypto and Blockchain Division. During our conversation with Curve's team, we've been impressed by their technical talent, entrepreneurial spirit, and the thinking behind the technology they've built in the last few years. Many publications citing anonymous sources familiar with the matter broke the news of PayPal's Curve acquisition earlier this month. However, some investors mistook the acquisition of the crypto custody firm with that of the native token of decentralized finance protocol Curve Finance. The price of Curve's CRV tokens rose by more than 10% within an hour of the news breaking, but has since fallen to $2.35. So whoopsie there. People were a little bit wrong on that one. However, it is good news, as PayPal, when they originally announced that they were offering cryptocurrency services, or at least the buying and selling of Bitcoin, like within your own account, you weren't actually able to send it to anybody, and you weren't actually able to withdraw it, nor were you able to send it to your own account if you happen to have Bitcoin, because there was no private key or public key. You just essentially buy it on the platform, and then it just sits there, and eventually you can use it, sort of like BitPay, with vendors, and when you pay them in Bitcoin, it just automatically gets transferred into fiat, and then the vendor gets the fiat money, which again is simply basically like BitPay. So it wasn't that big of a deal, but the news was a huge deal, caused Bitcoin from 10,000 to 15,000, and then the FOMO brought us up to where we are now, along with many other things, of course, and MicroStrategy buying billions of dollars, and Tesla, and Grayscale, etc. However, with the buying of Curve, they may be able to actually do different things now that they have their own crypto custody firm under their wing, rather than using the third-party system that they had before. So we'll have to see what happens with that in the future. Moving on, Bitcoin rebounds as Dow hits record high amid stimulus expectations. As I was talking about earlier, the stimulus will be coming out likely within a week. They say the week of the 15th, so that's next week. And with that, there is some high expectations. People are going to go out and spend all their money. Stocks are going to go up. People are investing again, and people are going to also invest in cryptocurrency as well. In fact, the $1,200 stimulus check that came out in something like April of 2020 is now worth something like $10,000. If you put it into Bitcoin, it's gone up significantly in value, something like 10 times in value. So you like $10,000 or $12,000. It fluctuates, of course, depending on the price of Bitcoin currently. But it was quite the investment indeed. $1,200 to get something like a $10,000 return is, well, pretty good in my book. The week got off to a complex start as traders began to weigh more heavily the implications of a new stimulus, an increasingly inflationary monetary policy. So that's another thing as well, is that the United States in 2020 printed 40% of all U.S. dollars in that year. So all of the U.S. dollars ever printed, 40% of them was in 2020. And 2021 is looking, well, pretty similar so far. That's going to lower the value of the dollar and thus raise the value of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is once again on the rebound, just as the Dow Jones hits a fresh all-time high. Other investments, however, such as gold and tech stocks like FANG Groups, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Google, they aren't faring so well. Most traditional markets reacted positively to expectations that a new stimulus package could provide support to prevent a market crash. During the Trump era, such policies served to keep the markets afloat. With this in mind, the dollar index, which measures relative currency strength globally, donned its fourth consecutive green candle with a growth of 0.32%, marking a recovery from a nearly full-year decline. This is a sign that, in general terms, investors expect a positive performance out of the U.S. economy in the near future, which would in turn help strengthen the dollar's dominance over other fiat currencies. Now, so in the near future, sure, the dollar is going to be great. But with all this printing, the Federal Reserve is going to have to be doing some pretty tricky management, which likely they're not, in order to prevent inflation. Because the money printer is going burr something pretty hard. But with the good expectation of the U.S. economy, the stock market is going to go up, and of course the crypto market is going to go up with it, because there is a high correlation between the stock market and the crypto market now. Again, the more people like Charles Schwab get in, the more people like Grayscale, these ETFs, all these institutions, companies, they're all the same as the Wall Street traders. They're going to be using the same tactics, the same buying and selling, the same TA, the same methods. When other people get wrecked, they're going to have to sell their Bitcoin to get money to pay off hedge funds, etc. So now that it's getting more and more correlated, it is like a double-edged sword. So we're going to see rising prices in cryptocurrency because they're pouring billions of dollars into it. Yet at the same time, when the stock market goes down, you're going to suffer those losses with it. I think over time, though, however, Bitcoin is going to be a great hedge against inflation. It's just in the major countries, that use euro, pound, US dollar, et cetera, like that, the inflation isn't so bad. But in something like Venezuela, where the inflation is incredibly high, Bitcoin serves an even better hedge against inflation. But again, over time, the US dollar has insane inflation. It's no longer worth what it was even 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Just keep going back, and it's worth more and more and more over time as you go backwards. But as you go forwards, worth less over time, and therefore it's going to buy less amount of Bitcoin, and therefore Bitcoin is going to go up in value. But moving on here to CoinMarketCap, we have a $1.65 trillion market cap. So we are nearly at $1.7 trillion market cap. We'll be at $2 trillion market cap, probably around maybe something like $60,000 to $63,000 Bitcoin. It may even be something more like $65,000 Bitcoin. And it won't be just Bitcoin that will reach that market cap, of a $2 trillion market cap. It's really the whole market, because if Bitcoin goes up to something like 60 to 65,000, the rest of the market is going to be higher. I mean, Ethereum will probably be 2,000 or so, even more maybe. Things like that will be all up as well, and all of their combined market caps will easily be something like $2 trillion. So even Bitcoin itself right now is only $3 billion away from a $1 trillion market cap, which it was when it was nearly 60,000. But not at the moment. But that's all I have for you guys today. Make sure you like, subscribe, share the video. That helps me out a lot. My social media in the description below. Give me a follow on those if you get the opportunity to do so. And as usual, I will see you guys next time.